Hi, I'm Blake Buettner, Managing Editor of Worn and Wound. Today, we're talking Speedmaster. To help me, I'm joined by Blake Malin. Mr. Blake, hello.
Hey, what's up?
And Christa Chance.
Hi there.
Hey YouTube, before we jump into the video, if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. Now, on to the Speedmaster. Christa, what do you do for Worn and Wound?
I am the Customer Service and Logistics Manager over at the Wind Up Watch Shop.
Awesome. She's really the glue that holds this place together.
Very much so.
And Blake, what do you do here?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I do
Okay.
very little, yeah.
So one thing that we all have in common is this Speedmaster. Believe it or not, this came out 1 year ago. We each bought it. Now, the Speedmaster's been around for a long time, quite famously, 1957, I believe. We did not have any Speedmasters in our collections. When this came out, we all three immediately bought it. Blake, what drew you to this watch versus the prior generation of the watch?
So I think what really drew me to this one specifically, I mean, the Speedmaster is one of those watches that everybody tells you that, at some point in your collecting career, like you should try to own one, whether it's like sort of a classic Speedy or it's a reduced or it's one of the more special models or whatever it is. And I had always sort of thought about picking one up, but I'm kind of a bracelet person and I never really liked the old Speedmaster bracelet very much. So seeing this one come out, plus some of those little tweaks and details that made it a little bit more sort of like historically accurate or interesting, like this one just seemed like the right one to get. And I was sort of in the mode of flipping some stuff and getting ready to like find the next pickup. So it really lined up perfectly, and I knew I wanted to have a Speedmaster in my collection at some point, and this just seemed to be like the right one.
Christa, have you ever owned a Speedmaster prior to this one? And what was it about this one that drew you to it?
I have actually. I had in my collection a few years back a Speedmaster, the base model from like the mid 2000s, I would say, with like the 1861 movement. And I really did like it. I wore it every day. I wore the hell out of that watch. But I guess more to Blake's point, like I'd never really been a bracelet person. But when this watch came out with this just amazing bracelet, it really spoke to me. And then also, like, kind of again to Blake's point, just one of the greatest things about the Speedmaster has been just the cohesive design language throughout the years, like throughout the different iterations. It might remain the same, but there's always something that's just kind of tweaked. But then when this one came out, of course, like there's one big major change, and it was what is it inside it, the caliber 3861 movement. So that's ultimately what drew me to that, because I'd always wanted a co-axial movement of my own.
Yeah, I think we're all in alignment on the bracelet, which is fabulous. This is a huge shift from the prior generation bracelet. It's got a 4mm taper, 5mm taper. It's a heavy taper, and it's very, very comfortable. It wears beautifully on the wrist. I know that the case thickness has been slimmed down just a little bit with this generation as well. And then, of course, the movement. Somewhat controversially, it went to a coaxial hand-wound chronograph, obviously. Did that affect your decision at all? Are you guys the purist? Does it bother you that the Speedmaster now has a coaxial escapement in it?
I think based on like my answer for why I picked it up, and like I feel like Krista's answer is much better than mine. No, it did not bother me. I've this might make me seem really sort of basic in many respects, but like that was not really a consideration for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was for you.
It was.
You wanted it there.
I wanted it. It was important.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm a purist either, but I think the coaxial movement is one of the greatest, if not maybe the greatest horological innovation of the 20th century. I'm sure someone is going to comment being like, well, actually, but again, let's spark some
Don't
debate.
at me.
At me, why not?
Yeah. Shouts to George Daniels, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if for someone who is interested in what's inside the watch, in addition to what's outside the watch, like I am, like it made a difference.
Yeah, I agree too. I certainly appreciate it. And this is METAS certified. I don't know about you guys, but this has been, mine has been within 1 second easily every time I've checked it. I'm one of those guys that get on time.gov and set it exactly to the thing. And I feel like with a watch, with a movement this accurate, I owe it to the watch to keep it bang on. But back to the strap. I noticed that both of you are wearing the watch not on the bracelet right now. How often do you wear this on fabric, leather, or anything else?
I almost never wear it on anything but the bracelet, and I actually just a couple days ago took it off the bracelet to sort of force myself. Noted Speedmaster enthusiast Zach Weiss, our colleague, one of the things he told me when I got the watch, he's like, as much as you love the bracelet, the Speedmaster really sings on a strap or on a NATO, and he's absolutely right. I just love the bracelet so much, I rarely take it off, but just the curved lugs, everything about the case really sings when you take it off that bracelet and put it on a strap. So yeah, I'm wearing it on a nylon strap.
But most of the time, it's on the bracelet.
Most of the time, it's on the bracelet.
What about you?
I am an outlier. I think I wear it. Honestly, it depends upon the season. Like, I tend to want to wear the bracelet when it's colder, because in the summer it can get a little sticky. But I actually prefer it on a strap. So, like, I have it on a, I think this is one of our Italian leather de Gras straps.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take my bracelet off from time to time just to remind myself how good it does on other options. I have yet to put anything on it where I thought that really doesn't work. If I put it on there, pretty much it's gonna work. But I like this bracelet so much that I always end up, after a week or two, going right back to the bracelet.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk long term. We've had it for a year. It's a long time in this day and age to keep a watch. Do you plan on keeping this watch in your collection for the long haul, Blake?
Yeah, for sure. I think so far for me, like, I think that this is it's a great way for me to own a Speedmaster. Like, I have sort of like made a decision personally that like I'm not super into collecting vintage watches. I'm just not very careful with things, so I don't really want to own anything too precious. I like I was saying, sort of some of the more like callback details, to the design of the watch, and like we said, the bracelet's pretty perfect. This is one of those watches you could wear every day. I've gone on trips with it. The times where I've traveled, I've taken this watch, and it's just so easy to wear all the time.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a staple for a long time. I have no plans to get rid of it.
Nice. What about you, Christa?
I don't know, actually.
Yeah.
When I had bought this watch, I had kind of narrowed it down between this one and a Rolex Explorer 2.
Okay.
A vintage one specifically. I can't remember what is that?
16570.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I wanted a watch that was, I guess, new, and there's something in the appeal of being the original owner, so to speak. So that's what ultimately drew me to this watch. However, well, given the state of vintage Rolex these days, not gonna lie, there's a bit of buyer's remorse.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's a bit of a severe term. I mean, I this watch is just eminently wearable, and I do get a lot of wear out of it, and I could see myself holding on to it for the foreseeable forever.
As someone who owns a Polar Explorer 2 of that reference and the Speedmaster, it is a killer 1-2 punch. Like, those two watches probably get 90% of the wrist time.
Yeah.
For me. Like, I just wear those constantly.
That's not a bad combo.
No. And I also was fortunate enough to have gotten that watch, like, just, I think, before they got a little out of control. So.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great watch to have in the collection. I found that it goes pretty well with whatever I'm wearing. Not that any of us are like people that dress up very fancy all that often. But if we did, I think this would fit in just fine. So I really like the flexibility of this watch. So yeah, I plan on keeping it in my collection as well. I should say, we all got the hesalite crystal.
I was just going to say, should we talk about...
Did you guys pause? Did you guys have any thoughts on... should I go this way or that way? Did you think about the sapphire?
Yeah, so I actually had a conversation with someone about this on social media when these came out, and we both were in agreement, watching my wrist on Instagram, Justice. But if you could have gotten the display case back with the hesalite crystal, I would have gotten that.
Okay.
But
yeah. Does that feel wrong?
No, actually, kinda.
Yeah.
I know I just said earlier that I'm not a purist, but about the crystal, I definitely am.
Yes. What about you? Which one did you end up going with, and what has been your impression of it over the past year, and do you plan on keeping of it? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time.